How often do you believe in yourself when you hear and say things that pertain to your personal growth? Has there ever been a time where you find yourself questioning certain things, especially on the way you were brought up, especially when you find that certain things that you've learned in childhood or in your upbringing doesn't exactly align with how you feel on the inside? Well, I'm here to say if you are new to yoga and you like the concept of yoga and how it can help you on your personal journey, your personal growth, I'm your guide today. My name is Candace. I'm a Hatha yoga teacher, and I'm here to explain the first limb of the yoga Ashtanga practice, which is called Yama. Yama is our moral restraint, how we operate on and off the mats, but especially in this case, how we present ourselves and interact with others, how we respond, and just learn how to be amongst other things and other influences in the world. In today's video, we will be covering Ahimsa, non-violence, and how we as yogis apply this concept in our daily lives on and off the mat. So our goal for today is to understand how this can affect our personal growth and how we operate outside of ourselves. So as a yoga teacher, I would share with you Ahimsa verbatim, non-violence. Sounds quite self-explanatory, right? Ahimsa, you want to think of it from a different perspective. How we respond to ourselves applying nonviolence compared to how we respond to others in the concept of nonviolence. When you think about Ahimsa, nonviolence could apply to life as not being that type of individual who chooses to be and say harmful things to people just because we are internally upset in this world or currently upset with something that will negatively impact that individual unbeknownst to them and unwarranted. So in addition to how you go about choosing and thinking about Ahimsa, having that subconscious mindset to instill within yourself to say, I'm choosing today not to show up as an ugly individual. I'm choosing today to not have the negative impacts of my life and choose to push it out on other people. So how does that actually go about within ourselves? How do we apply Ahimsa to ourselves? When you think about nonviolence, you automatically think, well, I'm not going to physically harm myself, but what about subconsciously? What about spiritually? In the world of yoga, yoga is more than asana. So how does that physical aspect of not choosing to push ourselves in a yoga posture, an asana, versus internally? Well, you think about those self-limiting beliefs. You think about the self-doubt. Other examples would be negative self-talk. It took me a minute to get there, but negative self-talk, self-doubt, things like that, where we choose to hear that in the back of our minds, that little insecurity that's slowly creeping in, where we may see something or hear something that influences us to look internally, that mirror that shows where we feel like there's a lack. We choose to think lesser than ourselves. You don't want to apply that at all. Instead, you want to balance by showing grace to yourself, but also choosing not to say, I accept those things that are within me that I feel a lack of. The way you can grow from this. So let's apply personal growth. In the world of yoga, applying Ahimsa, non-violence, typically this is a construct where we choose to, well, technically it's a code of ethics, a moral space of where we choose to not allow so much negativity, where we try not to allow so much negativity to impact our spiritual space, our heart center, our mind. We choose to find the balance. We don't want to think of always trying to be in bliss, because that's just not realistic. Our day-to-day lives does not always place us in a world of bliss. It also does not put us in too much of a negative field to where we can't balance that either. So you want to think about having the capacity, having that room to hold space for yourself, show grace for yourself, and to accept that maybe right now this is how you feel, but you can always uplift your mindset to say, instead of thinking, I'm not as attractive as the person that's next to me and believe that, you can say instead, I am a beautiful person inside and out. Now that's very cliche, right? Most of the times we just say that enough to where we spit it out so much we call it an affirmation, but don't subconsciously believe in it. I want you to shift your mindset. Instead of thinking about the doubt or the lesser or the lack of, put yourself in a position of I am in a more positive light, because when you think of things positively, you then start to operate in a more positive field, a positive spectrum, a positive state of mind. Again, when you apply personal growth, you don't want to just only focus on trying to rush to get to a better state of being. You trust the process, you go with the flow, you ebb and flow, because that's the nature of yin and yang. That's the way life is. So the more we choose to have grace and ultimately show gratitude, when we state I am in a positive way, you then are able to start moving in that position. Start placing yourself in that mindset of I am no longer harmful in this way. I choose not to be harmful in this manner to this other individual who may reflect a negative energy back toward me. You're choosing not to implement that harm. So let's say you were challenged by someone who wants to physically harm you, right? We're not saying to choose not to defend yourself. Some will say that Ahimsa does not truly mean nonviolence. There's a way you go about conducting yourself to where you choose not to harm another in the capacity that will not put yourself back in harm. So, for example, you have a bully, somebody who, if in this world, in today's age, we are in the space of social media heavy. You know that you have negatively minded people who just in their day are literally alive, choose to live their life to make other people's lives miserable. You post a comment on someone else's post that you thought was a beautiful take on whatever creative outlet they did on their social media post. A person comes to your comment and say something negative back. And then, of course, they obviously try to personally attack you as well. Instead of choosing to say something ugly back to that individual, you can obviously say, I don't have time for that. I'm better than that. I choose not to operate from a low vibrational mindset. They must be miserable. And although I could be miserable or not having a great day, I choose not to negatively say something back to that individual to continue to spark the flame or add more fuel to the fire. So with that being said, you are applying the mindset of Ahimsa, nonviolence, to portray, have others witness, as well as inflicting that negative comment that you could have chosen to put toward that individual. So think about that the next time you encounter something with an individual or within yourself that makes you think from a low vibrational mindset. I hope Ahimsa can help you continue on your personal growth journey. I currently have created a guide to help you in your yoga journey, applying the limbs of yoga to your daily life. If you'd like to see more about that, you can hit the link below. I have it in the description box to help you further along with understanding how to apply your personal growth through yoga and asana. And we will catch up on another video soon. So if you found this helpful in any way, I have this next video here to help you understand the next part of the yamas and how we incorporate yoga asana as well as the other elements of the yoga practice in our daily lives on and off the mat. Until next time, be well.